They spend time together in our nation's capital, but tonight we're hoping their get-together will be a little more productive. Representative Stephen Lynch, Massachusetts 8th District, they're smiling. Representative Michael Capuano, formerly the 8th, now the 7th, both representing Boston. Gentlemen, it's great to see you. Thanks so much for being here. Two big trials coming ahead in Massachusetts. State courtroom, Hernandez murder trial, cameras. Federal courtroom at the Moakley Courthouse in South Boston, Tsarnaev bombing trial, no cameras. You're sponsoring a bill on cameras in the courtroom. You're not so sure about it. Why, Congressman?
I actually think the people that testify should be able to testify without the presence of cameras unless a judge thinks that's appropriate for the given case.
But you support a bill that did give the judge that discretion because they don't have it right now.
Full discretion.
What would your bill do, Congressman Lynch?
It would present a precedent for having a camera there unless the judge felt that, as Mike has raised, there's a concern about a confidentiality of witnesses or putting either party in that trial at a disadvantage because of the publication of the trial itself. But there could be situations where for specific witnesses they might be off camera.
So you're essentially talking about an opt-out system for the judge. You're talking about an opt-in system, but essentially you're both saying the public should have some access to these things.
Again, that opt-in is different than an opt-out. An opt-in is you start from the premise there are no cameras if the judge thinks it's appropriate.
But why should that be the starting premise? If I can get into the courtroom and find a seat in Michael Capuano, I can be there.
I think the judiciary system's worked fine for the last 200 and some odd years, and to mess with that is, to me, very serious. And unless I can see the problem, I don't think you should mess with something that works reasonably well. Let's
come back to, I'm sorry, quickly.
I actually think that, from a civic standpoint, I think it's good to see how our legal system works, how our judicial system works. I think that, sunshine is a great disinfectant, and I think it'll have a positive impact on the courts.
Someone on the Supreme Court may have said that once.
Yeah, I think so.
Can we go
but they didn't have cameras in that court when he said
That's right, and they should, actually. They didn't have cameras in those days, probably. Let's stay on terrorism, but talk internationally. You've spent a lot of time in places like Iraq and those sort of things. You voted with the president in favor of training and equipping Syrian rebels. You voted against this thing. Can you imagine a circumstance, starting with you, Michael Capuano, in which you'd vote for ground troops being committed to the fight against ISIS?
I can imagine a circumstance.
What would that circumstance be?
It would have to be a multilateral force, have to be a real direct threat to the region in a real serious way. Right now, I don't see the regional powers as being really interested in having ground troops. I don't think we should be first, foremost, or certainly not alone. And I don't see that situation as real right now.
As I said, you've been there a lot of times. Are we close to that situation, Stephen Lynch?
I hope not. I hope not. I don't support. I've been there enough. I don't think the Syrian, the so-called moderate Syrian army is moderate at all. I think.
Did you make a mistake with that vote?
What's that?
Voting with the president to train and equip those people?
To equip, yeah. Boots on the ground, no, I would not do that. I voted against that. But I think that some training is necessary, especially with the Kurdish Peshmerga. We did not do training up there in the north, and I think they're probably the most competent military force in that region.
Which I think says something on its own. The ones we didn't train are the best troops. That's kind of a problem to a certain extent. Again, for me, it's a matter of what role does the U.S. have to play as a standalone entity, and I just think that unless we have the European nations and maybe the rest of the world with us, it's just not our fight at this point in time.
Speaking about the rest of the world, let's come back home and talk about the Olympics. You were quoted a couple of months ago saying, I don't mean to be rude about it, but what does anybody do with a velodrome after the Olympics? Did you ever find out?
I think the answer is you tear it down and you put the park back up. I mean, there's nothing wrong with velodromes. I mean, I love bike riding and going around in circles. We do that in Congress all the time.
But we're arguing this thing now. Do you both support the notion of there being a ballot question where the voters have the final say? Do you support the notion that there shouldn't be taxpayer funds other than what's in the pipeline?
The notion of, I've been very clear on that. No taxpayer funds at all except for security. I would support security funds. I have my doubts about a ballot question per se. I'm not gung-ho. I'm not gung-ho about government by ballot. I mean, if they're going to have a ballot question, that's fine. But I don't think that every question of importance should be put on the ballot all the time. I do think that we have a representative form of government, and they should represent them.
But they're not. They haven't voted on anything.
Well, but we're not there yet. If they're going to put a ballot question on, that's fine. I think there was people out there gathering signatures anyway, and my expectation is that the idea of having a ballot question now by the proponents is a way to and run that particular proposal. So for me, I mean, the question is really about money. The Olympics in and of themselves, that's fine. I mean, who's against the Olympics? Motherhood, apple pie, puppy dogs, little children, we're all for that. But I'm not gung-ho about having my tax dollars as a Massachusetts taxpayer used for that purpose.
Where are you on the taxpayer funds and the ballot question, Stephen Lynch?
I think the ballot question is fine. I think robust debate is a good thing. I think there's a lot of public benefit in this, though. If we're talking about improving infrastructure, and there's going to be a legacy here that will accrue to the public, there might be in some cases, if we're going to extend rapid transit or do some core transportation projects that accrue to the public, there might be a role for public funding, like we would anyway. If we would expand the blue line or the red line.
Additional public funding.
Yeah, for that.
Additional public funding.
For that.
So speaking of that, one of the Olympics leaders, Boston 2024, make the case that you do. That this is how we can get people off the dime. 25 years, we've been kicking the can down the road, to quote David D'Alessandro, who did a review of the T. The governor's task force is supposedly going to report tomorrow. So far, we've seen dribs and drabs, worker absenteeism, a couple of $1 billion appropriated but not spent for capital projects. Can you see the T fixed just with reform and not new revenue, Steve Lynch?
I think it'll require some new revenue. I don't think you can do everything with cuts and reorg, but you've got some deep-rooted problems there, and we're going to have to do a stem to stern review and figure out what works and what doesn't.
Do you think new revenue is going to be needed to fix this thing?
Yes, but I also think it's right to start without new revenue. You're right to start from ground zero, fix what you can with what you have, but I don't think they're going to be able to accomplish it without additional revenues. Otherwise, you just can have a broken system that's a little better.
You're a union guy in your former life and still a pro-union guy. Today's piece of the puzzle, 57 days average absent from work for the average T worker. What was your reaction to that, Steve Lynch?
57 days a year?
A year, on average.
That's bad. That's bad. Yeah.
Well, that's a quick reaction. That is.
That's bad. We got to do better on that. I don't know what the root of that is, but.
Let me quote you both on a political issue, if I can. One of you said, "I'm with Hillary all the way." Could you raise your hand if that was you? Oh, that was you, Stephen Lynch.
Yeah.
One of you said, "If she runs for president, I'll be with her." That was not about Hillary. That was about Elizabeth Warren. Why Elizabeth Warren? Why Hillary Clinton? Mike Capuano first.
I've come to really respect Senator Warren. I think she's doing a great job. I agree with her on most every issue. I think she has a very good understanding of how the media works and how to communicate with people. I think she'll make a great candidate. At the same time, I'm not encouraging her to run. I want to be real clear. I simply said if she chose to run. I have not once encouraged her to do it, but if she ran, I'd be with her. And if not, I'll be with somebody else.
Would the somebody else be Hillary Clinton?
Sure. Hillary Clinton would be a great presidential candidate, but, I want to wait to see what people are doing in the full scheme of things.
You're all in it with Hillary Clinton already.
Yeah,
Why?
I was with her last time, and
she lost last time, right?
She did.
Okay.
And I supported her till the end.
Why? Why is she the best candidate?
I think she's best qualified. Republican, Democrat, man, woman. She's the best we got. She really is.
You worried about the scrubbing of the email server that we learned about the other day?
I've never voted for president based on how somebody handles their emails. I really don't think that's going to be.
You don't think there's a bigger
difference.
issue than just their emails?
No. I think they're looking to embarrass her, and whatever the Republican can get to embarrass her and to diminish her in the eyes of the public, they're going to use that. And that's how this game works. But that's not going to change the fact that she is the most capable, competent political leader that we have in the country today.
Speaking of leaders, we only have a minute left, gentlemen. Harry Reid is stepping down, as you know, as the Democratic leader in the Senate. Democratic leader in the House, Nancy Pelosi, you were her transition chief when she made Speaker. Subsequently, when Democrats were crushed in an election, you said maybe it's time to go. Is it time for her to go with Harry Reid?
I have said from day one that when you do something, no matter how good I may think it is, if it's not working, you should change what you're doing. And right now, we continue to do the same thing. We have lost more seats since then, and I've thought for a while, I don't blame one person. That would be incredibly stupid.
But she should go?
I think we need leadership that understands that if something you're doing is not working, change what you're doing.
So she should go?
I think if that or she should change one or the other. And thus far, we just lost more seats at the last cycle.
Should she go?
Nancy Pelosi will not lead us back into the majority.
So the answer is yes.
Right.
Steve Lynch, very nice to see you.
Okay.
Congressman Capuano, thank you too as well.